So, you have a fully functional rigged character, but you've never animated before. Not a problem. Now, animating is its own field entirely, so don't get discouraged if you're having trouble. It's a very unique skill, which is why the people who animate characters are very often not the people who model them. But don't worry, I got you. From object mode, select the rig and go to pose mode. Click all the bones that have nothing to do with controlling animation, and press H to hide them. You can always unhide them if you press Alt H. Next, make sure you click this circle button right here. Otherwise, nothing you do will be remembered. And I mean that literally. Your life will fade away quicker than Thanos can snap his fingers. Anyway, down here is your animation. You can scroll up and down to get a better view, and middle click to pan it left or right. Every time you press the spacebar, the whole animation will play, unless you tell it specifically where to start and where to end over here. And from here, you are literally ready to animate. To do that, you have to decide where to place the key poses. To make a key pose, click a frame on the timeline, and move the skeleton into any pose you want. When you are done, select all the bones with A, right click, or press I to insert keyframe, lock rod scale. Then you can left click drag to another point on the timeline, make another pose, and repeat the process to make another keyframe. Now once you have 2 keyframes, you will see that your character will automatically change from one key pose to the next. Which brings me to my final point. An animation is just a bunch of keyframes, which means the only thing that you really need to know is where to put each key pose on the timeline. And the easiest way to figure that out is to ask yourself, how does the animation begin? How does the animation end? And what is the main part supposed to look like? Let's take a basic idle animation. In most games, it loops into itself over and over and over. Any animation that loops into itself like walking or running is going to begin the same way that it ends, which means that the first and last keyframe should be the same. So anytime you want to copy a keyframe to another position, press A to select all the bones you need. Make sure that the frame you want to copy is highlighted in yellow. Right click or Control C to copy the frame, left click to your new position on the timeline, and right click or Control V to paste. Alright, now that our beginning and end are the same, if you left click somewhere in the middle and change the pose just a little bit and make a new keyframe by pressing A, I, and key lock rod scale, you're done. If you play the animation now, you'll see your idle animation loop over and over. Now, you can make it as detailed as you want. If you want to make it more interesting, just add more keyframes in the middle. If you want to adjust or move frames around, press A to select all your bones, and left click or box select the frames on the timeline, and press G to move them forward or back. Before you do this, make sure that you select all the bones. Otherwise, the keyframes for the bones you didn't select will not be moved. You can always right click or press delete to remove a selected yellow frame, or press Shift D to duplicate them as well. If you press left and right on the arrow keys, you'll go one frame forward or backward. And if you press up and down on the arrow keys, you will jump to the next closest keyframe in the animation. The last thing that you need to know how to do is mirror an animation. A lot of animations like walking and running around mirror the body on the left and right side. If you press A, select the keyframe and copy it, you can go anywhere else on the timeline, right click and paste it reverse. And you can do that for multiple frames at the same time. So for example, if I make half a walking cycle and then select all the frames in the middle, I can copy them, go to the second half of the animation, right click and paste reversed. And the rest of the walking cycle will be pasted in reverse automatically. And that's it. Those are all the tools and hotkeys that you are gonna need for animation. Hope that helps. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you around.